Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to everybody. Thank you for watching today, wherever you might be watching from. And lots of great things are happening. And got a little bit of a cloud outside, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And who do we have here with me today? Another special guest.
A special guest.
They're rolling in right and left, right and left. So tell them who you are.
I'm Barb. I think they know who I am. Well,
no,
maybe
they
not
don't.
all of them.
We could have some new visitors from Peru or somewhere. You don't know.
That is true. I'm Barb Reddy. I am over Discipleship and Family Life Ministry here at Church of the Cross. And that's actually why I'm here.
Well, that's great. That's great. So tell me what happened exciting in your world last night.
So last night we had our first crosswalk event. Crosswalk's what we're calling our family ministry. And we're calling it Crosswalk because we're helping families navigate the chaos. That's the point. So we created this event where they had a meal, they got a message, and then we mingled. And we had 96 people. So that was exciting.
What was the meal?
For our first one. So we had Papa John's pizza. I passed. My body doesn't like pizza anymore. But the kids love it, and the parents love it because they don't have to cook. And then after we ate, and they sat with people they don't normally sit with, so they're getting to know new people.
So you separated the parents and the children?
No. We made them sit as families, but there were 2 to 3 families per table.
Okay.
Some from cross schools, some from the Church of the Cross, some from both. So it was a good mix and blend of all of that. After we finished eating...
so that was the meal part.
That was the meal part. The message was how to bring Jesus into your home life. And so I spoke with them about how as families, they have, I showed them this little video. And if you just take your kid to church, like if you just take them to Sunday school, they get 40 hours a year of Bible teaching. That's it. Now, some of those go to cross schools, so you can probably multiply that by 5.
At least.
Almost. So say they're getting 200 to 250 hours a year. But as parents, you have over 3,000 hours with your children. So helping them to understand that discipleship starts at home. And then we're here at the church and we're here at the school to supplement that.
Got it.
So I gave them some ideas through devotions, showed them some devotions, gave them a Amazon list where they can buy devotionals.
One click away.
One click away. Actually, it was a QR code.
A QR code.
QR code, and the list comes up. QR codes are amazing. Like, it's amazing. And then I talked to them about family prayer time, and we talked about the daily office, which is our little prayer booklet, and then Seedbed has made one even simpler for families. And I'm sorry, but I should have brought it. But it's very cool. It's like a morning or an evening prayer, you choose, and then a couple special prayers in the back. And we were able to give some of those away as prizes, so that was fun. 5 families went home last night with that little prayer book. And while I was teaching, the kids were designing their own journals so that when they go home, and I told the kids, like, your part is to take your journal so that when you do your family devotion, write some notes, draw pictures, whatever, about what you're talking about. Kind of challenge the kids to go home and say, I need to do my journal. Where's our devotion?
Yeah, got it.
And then we mingled.
What does that mean? What was mingling look like?
So mingling is wild and crazy. And you know who
Just the kind of thing I would love, isn't it?
You would love it, Padre, as much as my husband Scott did. That's when he went to the sound booth. Yes, Scott went to the sound booth. He's like, I'm going up there and run the sound. You know Brent Carlson.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like me. We love to mingle. And so I put him over that, and he did a great job.
I'm
great
sure.
job.
He's a special fellow.
He's awesome. We had families, we put them in teams, and the teams, they didn't necessarily know their team people. So that was the mingle. They were getting to know people they didn't normally know. And the first game, they had to pop balloons with their feet. And there were about 15 people on a team, and they had a bag of balloons, and the balloons come out and they pop, and whichever team popped the balloons first was the winner. It was crazy. They loved it. Then, this is the best part. You should have been there. You would have loved this. We had a dance-off. And I played this song called The Chicken Strut. I'd never heard it. It was awesome.
I've never heard of it either.
It was awesome. And then I split them up, kids against parents. So we had groups of kids and groups of parents, and they had to create a dance to go with this song. It was amazing.
I bet it was.
It was so much fun.
Seriously.
Seriously, it was so much fun. It really was.
I am glad. If the children enjoy it, that's what counts. Children.
The children loved it, but you know what? The parents did too. The parents did too. And I had a couple, there were several like middle school age kids there, and they were having a great time. I was telling Rebecca earlier, this one girl came in, I think she was an 8th grader, and she came in kind of typical 13-year-old. And so she and I were chatting about different things, food and different things. She's like, yeah. By the end of the night, she was dancing. She was coming up to me like all smiles, talking.
Wonderful.
I was like, it was worth it.
So it was meal, message,
mingle. Mm-hmm.
Now, and this is crosswalk. So what? So is it just the crosswalk is a night together?
Yes, for the most part. That is one part of crosswalk. So the second part is, as we come upon our liturgical seasons, I will develop devotions, family devotions, that'll go out. The Advent devotions will go out via email once a week, and so they'll have a whole week set of devotions to get us through Advent. And then for Lent, the season of Lent, we're actually going to put together a book of devotions, and it's going to go along with what Nathan will be preaching on Wednesday nights through the Lent season. So I'm really excited about that. We're just offering the tools to help them disciple their children.
Now, how often is the meal, message, mingle?
Well, we're hoping for quarterly, but the gym over there is a little bit busy. And so we've got the holiday season coming up. We have basketball season coming up. So the next date we could find was in February. So we decided to combine with our Shrove Tuesday. So they'll come, their meal will be a pancake dinner provided by the church. And then the message we'll work on. I have time. And then we'll figure out the mingle. But that'll be the next one, February 13th.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm excited. It was fun.
Wonderful.
It was a lot of fun.
So what else you want to share?
So we've been working behind the scenes on Bible studies and small groups. And right now I'm working with leaders, working with staff, working with key leaders. We're going through an experience that will launch into more small groups. I need to quit saying small groups. We're changing it to life group.
Okay.
These are going to be life groups. We're going to have Bible studies, and we're going to have life groups. And we're calling them life groups because they're transformational. These are people you're really going to do life with. And as you do that, you become more and more vulnerable and more likely to share your life with them. So that's why we're calling them life groups. And then the other thing that we're starting to put like some oomph into is volunteering. And some of you know my husband is kind of leading up, taking the charge on that. So there's a QR code, I think Charlie's going to put it up, with a survey. And all the survey is lets us get to know you better. So how can we serve you? Because we want you to be in a position of service that's going to edify you, and will use the gifts God's given you. Because if we do that, then it's going to put you in a place where you're going to be the best volunteer and server you can.
So the QR code gets you to a survey about serving.
Serving and discipleship.
So there's small groups,
Yep.
small Bible study things are on there too.
Yep. So it'll give us an idea of what you're looking for in a Bible study, or what you're looking for in a life group. Are you looking for you want it gender-based, age-based, where you live, all those kinds of things. Gives us that idea. So we can get you plugged into the right place.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And where is the QR code? Where are they going to find that?
Where's the QR code?
It was just on the screen.
Oh, it's on the screen.
No, but I mean, where can people find it?
Where can people find it?
You can find the survey on the Connect page. Or
on the
Serve
Connect page on our
the
website. There's a survey. So if you go on Connect, you can go under Serve or Connect, and there's a link to the survey there.
Okay.
And then you take the survey, and then someone will get back with you on how we can help you.
All right.
I think that's all I have. I'm going to tag team out.
We're tapping out.
I'm tagging out
Tagging out, and
to Rebecca.
Rebecca's coming in.
Next.
All right.
Now you're going to meet with teachers.
Wonderful. All right, so what do you got on your plate today?
Hello. You have had a lot of visitors lately, haven't
Been
you?
rolling in and out of here. Rolling in and out. A lot going on. By God's grace. By God's grace.
Yeah, we're into this was the 4th week of confirmation. You taught on the sacraments on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have another session on membership on
Yep.
this
Honoring
coming
God
Sunday.
with serving and
then-
giving, what it means to be a member of a church, and responsibility for time, talent, and treasure. That's-
All right, we'll share a little bit about that because we do have people that visit and they're curious about how do you become a member of the Church of the Cross and why do you need to be a member of a church. So give us just a brief.
You know, the
minute.
difference, membership implies a level of commitment. You know, you go to a baseball game and you know who's a member of the team because they're playing in the game. Other people are just watching. The members of the team are there all the time. The people can count on them. They can count on each other. People in the stands come when it's convenient. They got no stake in the game. Not at all. They're out there drinking beer and eating popcorn. You know, that's the show. And that's the difference. We have, you know, and there are people in this area, all different ages. They know what membership is. You know, they go to
Planet
a
Fitness
gym.
and-
Yeah, that's
right.
right. The Property Owners Association, whatever. There's a sense of belonging or just passing through. And that's what membership is about. And membership, you know, you can look to people around you to help guide you and shape you. The doors are all open to be involved in every kind of ministry and Bible studies and all the rest of that. But you're accepting a responsibility for somebody beyond yourself. And you're joining a fellowship of people who are responsible for people beyond themselves. So it's a move from non-membership, all that kind of stuff. The people who are sitting in the stands, that's self-centered, see, not other-centered. In a church, when you become a member, then you're saying, I'm going to step into this other-centered world, which is very different than the secular world. And I'm going to think about some folks other than myself, and I'm going to make a commitment to draw closer to the Lord, which is why we're here. I'm going to work on that. Whereas otherwise, you know, it's sweet to come and came to honor my wife or my grandparents or something like that, but I'm not into this, and that's okay, you know. But they're very real differences, very real. So what was up? So I'm talking about that and what those responsibilities are, and it starts out with, you know, the first thing about membership in a church is your relationship with the Lord. So I'm going to start with the whole plan of salvation and all that. I'll start with that. And then serving involves time and talent and treasure, and I'll speak to that. And that'll fill up the time. Had a good group this past time. That's a big class. And I was in the parish hall with, 70-something people. And then Nathan was in the church with the young group, with the young folks. They were doing a show and tell thing in the historic church, and while I'm doing this in the parish hall. So that was real special.
We have 10 youth going through confirmation, and what Pastor
They were
Nathan-
there with
their mentors.
with their mentors, yeah.
Yes, which is really, we've already heard some stories coming out of that about just the sweetness of that relationship between, and it's all girls being confirmed this time, 10 girls. So they're paired with a more mature woman in the parish, and they're walking through this process together. And it's really beautiful to see the
Wonderful.
connections that are immediately have begun between that. And we know that mentors are very important.
And I think we'll probably confirm those first before all the adults. And I think I'm going to ask Nathan to present them to the bishop and have their mentor stand behind them. That idea.
So next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday, the bishop will be here on the historic campus for that confirmation. Bishop Lawrence
will be here.
is stepping in for Bishop Edgar.
And then the following Sunday, the 8th, Bishop Edgar will be here. Mm-hmm. He's going to do one service with us, and that'll be here on Sunday the 8th, and that'll be streamed so people can see that across the diocese or elsewhere.
And the bishop comes to parishes once a year.
Once a year.
Right. Typically, most parishes do a service, the service that he preaches in confirmation together, don't they?
Yeah, because they don't have that many people.
Right, but we have, it'll be
a lot.
But
But it's too many
75 people.
be
Right.
too many to do during a church service.
Right.
So we have a special service for that, and the bishops for the past number of years have been very kind to come an extra time just to do that for us. And that's wonderful.
Also on that night, afternoon actually, at 4:30 we had the blessing of the animals. It just so happens that it's the same day because it's St. Francis Assisi Day, feast day. So
Yep.
Jonathan, at 4:30 on the historic campus will be outside on the bluff, blessing animals that are leashed, caged,
That's right.
contained, depending on the animal.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Depending on the animal. We've had a horse show up before.
Yeah, when Tommy Hayward brought those big percherons, he had two of them. All kind of animals out there, but pets are important to people, and that's wonderful.
Yes,
That's wonderful.
they are. They are.
So what you got in your lap there?
I got a letter in the mail from our friend in Savannah. Good afternoon, Ken. And he wanted to share this, and it was a really good story that I'm going to springboard into a question for you. This is by Rick Bragg. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and author, and he often does, on the very last page of the Southern Living magazine, this is how I know his name, he does an article at the very end of the magazine, and it typically is very Southern-centric, bizarre things that we do sometimes, which, it's a cultural thing. We do some odd stuff. So this one is, thank you for telling me no. So I'm going to just read a couple of paragraphs from it. It says, my people were storytellers. I grew up listening. I can still hear their voices. And then he lists all these different family members. And they would drive in the country. They would take long drives, and he would just hear them tell their stories. I can relate to this. One morning while taking a shower, I was wondering, what will I say to our sales team today? With my eyes closed and rinsing out the Prel, I don't even know if they make Prel anymore, I could hear Buddy. That's it, I said. As soon as I hung my towel on the rack, I grabbed a pen and jotted down the 12 signature times that I had been told no. Isn't it the shower, those bizarre downtimes when thoughts come to your mind? 3 o'clock in the morning is a big one for me. I don't think that's yours. No, you're snoozing at 3 o'clock. Driving to the meeting, I rehearsed what happened after hearing these no's. In 2009, I told these stories in a short book. This year, I decided to add more stories to the collection. The older I get, I'm reminded, only words live forever. Later this fall, thank you for telling me no will come hot off the presses. 6 friends read the first draft, and I'm humbled and genuinely embarrassed by their endorsements of the upcoming book. And this is one of them. Dink writes about the past with such heart and color, it makes you wish for a time machine. You were raised by storytellers.
Oh, yeah.
Weren't you?
Where you didn't have television.
Right.
You sat around the table. You didn't have machines or anything else. You sat around the table. And meals were a signature part of the day. Then in the morning, breakfast was get in there and get out because you're headed somewhere. But supper time, everybody gathered around and you just hung out. That's a terrible phrase.
I can't imagine you hanging out at the table with my grandparents.
But you sit around.
It was community. It was together.
Yeah, you sit around and you're talking back and forth. But the real special times when they talk about when they were young and when they were growing up, things that you just wouldn't know it if they didn't share it. And that's true with so many people. And I think that's one of the big things that young people today are missing in this area. Most of them, their grandparents live thousands of miles away, so they don't have that intersection of generations where you can share about the long ago and far away. And the generation of my grandparents, the world was so different than it is now. Golly day. No television, and we had
no device in your hand.
No device in your hand. You had a telephone. I think I was maybe about the 7th grade. No, before that. My grandparents got a telephone. We didn't have one coming along. We lived with them a lot. And there was one phone, and that was in the middle of the house. There were no phones in all these rooms, and you're on a party line, and glad to have it. Glad to have it. And you didn't have all that many people to call either, because you visited, see?
Right.
People visited.
Sunday afternoon.
Oh,
I
people
remember
visited.
that. We're going visiting, and you get in the car, and you would go and just sit with. We would go to our my great grandparents' house.
You visited them.
and you would the kids would just sit.
Yeah, it was painful sometimes, but that's it. See, you weren't. There wasn't this idea of being connected with the world, not at all. We had you had a evening newspaper. We had a morning paper. In Charleston, you had a morning and evening paper, but you had a paper that came in the morning. I delivered a paper out for a while, and that was the news. And then you didn't get any more news till the next day. That was it.
We need to go back to that.
Yeah, and that was all you needed. And you didn't need to know everything every minute.
Right.
You didn't. You didn't have all this other. Yet now we got information everywhere, just dumping in on you. So you treat everything the same, and there's not a sense of importance about things. There's no priorities in news. All it just flows together with rumor and gossips and all that kind of stuff. But back then, something came in the morning. Adults read it. Children didn't care about any of that stuff. And not every adult read it. Not every adult got the paper. But your world was the world around you. It was people. It was the people you interacted with all the time, the folks you worked with, or in your neighborhood, whatever like that. And that was all that was really important. What was going on in China or something, who cared?
Right. But I think that's important too with what Barb was just saying about life groups and about establishing that sense of community. Because our world is lacking that so much, and in the church,
so you got to work at that
core.
now. Back then, that's all there was. You didn't have all. You didn't have the distractions. You just didn't have the distractions. You read when you were little. Adults read. We had a radio. It was
huge.
It was a big radio.
Yeah.
It was a stand-up radio. And the thing is that children would sit on the floor and adults would be on the chairs and you'd listen to the radio. That was it. Man, that was big stuff. I must have been about the 4th or 5th grade. I got a little Philco radio of my own.
You were rolling. So talking about he remembered 12 times that he was told no and it impacted his life. What are 1 or 2 times that it was a good thing, but you were told no?
The first one comes to mind was with my grandfather, my mother's father. And we'd sit at that table, and he was Catholic, and every Friday was fish. I mean, that was it. In school, every Friday, fish sticks is what you had, fish sticks in school. But you had fish of some kind at home on Friday at grandparents' house. He was Catholic, grandma was not. He didn't go to mass very much, but anyway, he was big on that fish on Friday, and so he sat around Friday evening around the old table and blistering hot, and the kitchen table was right there by the window fan. The house was no air conditioning, and the window fan sucked the air out of the house. You had all the windows open, so what it did when it sucked the air out, it pulled air through the windows, and so you had a breeze, and that was a big deal. But anyway, we're there, and he loved the beets. Now,
You hate beets. I love them too.
Do you really?
I do. That was one of my favorite things in Israel. It's beets all the time on the breakfast.
So
beets.
he had this thing about everybody at the table needed to eat beets.
This is why you don't like them.
Oh, so you get the beets are cut in these little circles, like that, and I guess they came in a can or something. So I had my circle of beets on my plate, and he turned his head, and slipped my circle of beets back in the beet bowl. And you know what? He cleared that table, and all the beets in the bowl went on my plate. And he sat there with me till I ate every beet on that plate.
And you have not eaten a beet since.
Beet, and I thought I was ahead of the game. I pulled one off on the old boy right here. Shoot, every beet. I still don't know how he saw me. I thought I'd pulled it off. Every beet. No, I wouldn't eat a beet now. Shoot. No.
So he said, no, you're not fooling me.
That's right. I mean,
So you didn't do that again?
No, I didn't do it again. No. You just, from then on, you knew it was coming. Fish sticks and a beet. Yeah. So you just, hold your nose, but you couldn't hold your nose. That wouldn't work. You had to cut it up. And I tried anything else on the plate. I mix it with the beet, to try to camouflage it, something like that. You couldn't camouflage it with a fish stick, though. But you had to mix it up with something. I did, anyway. But my sisters love beets. I guess it's an acquired taste, kind of like that Guinness stuff. It's an acquired taste. God.
Didn't at the Irish pub when y'all were there for teaching? Didn't the bartender say that?
Yeah.
When he saw your
so
face?
we're there, Becky and I, in downtown Dublin, and so the other people that I've been teaching and working with, different groups all week long, say, oh, this is you just have to do that. When you get to Bluffton, go to a pub and have some Guinness. And, Becky and I sat down at the bar. There's a crowd of people around, and we're watching the guy, and the stuff, it looks like it's black.
It's like the color of your shirt.
Golly dang. So we ordered one, and the guy looked at us and said, we're going to split it. And we each had a little sip of it, and it was nasty. And so the fellow said, the bartender asked us how to like it. And I told him, I said, this stuff is nasty. Why does anybody drink it? And he said, it's an acquired taste. And I asked him, I said, why would you want to acquire a taste? That'd be like acquiring a taste for beets. Why would you want to why would you want to do that? But anyway, you live and learn. So, but a sip of that was enough. And now I can make choices, and nobody's putting the beet on my plate, so I'm good with that. And may I say, we're into the apple cider vinegar.
Oh, yes. How are we doing? It's been 3 weeks since I've had an update.
We're doing. We're through a couple of bottles of the regular, and now we've juiced it on up.
Oh, kicked it up a notch.
Now we have the grape apple cider vinegar.
Oh, and what do you think?
Tastes like grape apple cider vinegar. It doesn't taste like grape juice. Don't kid yourself.
That's the same idea, kind of. But you had to mix something with the beets to try to mask
but
it.
But the thing
that's
is,
what they're trying to do.
So your mama puts it there, and I love her, and so you drink it down.
I like that.
A couple of times I've eased up. I've been able to ease upstairs at night, and she'll come up there after me, carrying that apple cider vinegar. Because it's the idea. Once you get into doing something, then it comes automatic. You just don't think about it.
So it's like your Friday fish. It's coming.
It's coming morning and night. But you do things, and I'm sure there are things that you do for James, because you probably wouldn't think about doing it yourself. But hey, I'll honor him. Well, and you love people, so you do what they ask. And so I do it. I have my
good for you for
my
not
thing
trying
of all
to pour
my
it back
vitamins
in
and
the
everything.
bowl.
No, you can't. You don't trick your mama like that. Now, come on. No.
Pretty quick. Did you happen to watch that Miami Dolphins game on Sunday? It was like 70-20.
I saw the score, yeah. Your mama watched a little bit. She likes Tua. But no, I didn't watch any of it. I was getting ready for Sunday night.
You were teaching.
Yeah. And it was a nighttime game, wasn't it? Yeah. No, I didn't watch any of that. But the class was good. I like that. I enjoy teaching. So. We had good services Sunday, but after I did this services Saturday night and Sunday and taught Sunday night, I laid out yesterday. So.
It's good because we're called to rest.
Yep, I rested yesterday.
Good deal.
And you know, we tried the thing a week ago on Monday. We tried the thing that we saw advertised on television, the new thing at Chick-fil-A with the
Pimento cheese.
pimento cheese on it. Yeah. And so I told your mama, I said, well, we got pimento cheese here. Why don't you just get a regular Chick-fil-A, and then you'd juice it up with your own pimento cheese. It was much better.
It's an interesting combo that I wouldn't have come up with, but it's good.
No, it is
Now, they
good.
put jalapenos. You wouldn't.
No, I
You
didn't.
would have said without jalapenos.
No, we didn't do that. But the pimento cheese was good. You know, if you like pimento cheese, you can put that on. I don't
put
know
that
if
on
it,
anything just
I don't
about.
know if it would redeem a beet or not, but
I'm gonna try it.
you can put pimento cheese on almost anything. It tastes good now. It really does.
Palmetto pimento cheese, especially.
Yep, that has a little bit of
We
little bit
always
of flavor
end up
to
talking
it.
about food because it's lunch.
You know, pimento cheese, tomato and pimento cheese sandwich. That's
Summer tomato. It's got to be a summer tomato. It
Yeah.
can't be one of those
No.
grocery store ones.
but we're blessed, you know, and in so many ways, and now, gosh, the church year is moving.
I tell you what, the month of September is gone,
In October, and
and then it's time
you're
for
looking at that.
treasure,
You're looking at that
stewardship,
calendar
and then it's Advent.
of stuff that's coming up now, moving through. It's amazing, it's wonderful. A lot of people involved in many different activities, and Bible studies. You know, folks are signing up with those. The thing that Barb's working with life groups and all that, that's taken off. It's just a blessing to see what's happening in light of 27 years ago.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it is really, really, really quite a gift that God's given to us. Quite a gift.
All right. So this week you are preaching on this campus,
I'll be on this campus. Yep.
and you're
The
preaching
power of influence.
The power of influence.
Power of influence. We're all influence people. Influence.
For good or bad.
We're all influence. That's the only option we have, is it good or bad. Yep. Influence. The power of one person to impact on another.
And we all can come up with that one person who made the biggest impact on our life. And at different seasons, it's different people.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
there always is a name that comes to mind. Sometimes the bad influence is the one that pops in first, though.
Well, I guess that's different with people.
But
Because the
you can flip
bad,
it and
the
see how
bad
that's also
influences are,
turned into a positive.
yeah, the bad influences sometimes are ones we remember because they, the pain they cause
Right.
leaves a scar that you can't forget. So the good influences don't always leave a scar. In fact, never do. But power of influence. A lot of people were real touched by the sermon, so that's great. And we'll see what we do with that this week and
October 1st, isn't it?
this Sunday,
This
October
Sunday.
1st.
Wow. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you at services this week. Food bank is still rolling with donations. Lately, they've asked for a lot of cereal. So I haven't gotten the update today or haven't seen it on what the needs are for this week. Did you happen to see the email come through? But don't forget the food bank helping out with that. And as Barb mentioned earlier, we need people to serve at all campuses and ministries all over the place. And after you spoke on Sunday, I was watching and the people that took the survey from the historic campus, because you must have mentioned it in your
I did.
announcements.
I did.
And then they followed the QR code. And so we're already getting them plugged in, which is pretty amazing.
Yep.
The turnaround on that.
You know, I
So-
don't think people realize how many folks it takes, and the bigger we get, the more folks it takes to support.
I think I've added it up before. It takes at least 150 volunteers for 5 services every weekend.
And there's a lot of roles to volunteer.
Right, and that's services. That's not.
That's just services.
Food bank, office help. That's not the rest of it. Across schools, that's just services.
Yeah. And so there's a big need for that, and we can work in. We can do that.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great need and a growing need as we think about adding more services. It's just going to keep on keeping on by God's grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some fun with some of the people there. And, my good buddy on the front row, 8 o'clock service, talking about the QR code, and he's just sitting there. Do you know what a QR code? No. And he's maybe 91 or 92, something like that. And he doesn't have an iPhone either.
So that makes a difference.
That's.
But you can always call the office, and Sue or somebody will walk you through the survey and take it for you too.
Yep. So, but I had fun with that, and then there was one at the 10 o'clock service. Same. I happened to call her. Same thing. No, she doesn't know how to do that.
So did you show them? Did you show them how to do it?
No, it's during the announcements. I'm moving along like that. So I'm just trying to get at people's attention.
Okay, this week you can pull out your phone.
I don't carry my phone. In the worship service, I wouldn't have a phone with me. But anyway, so I said, well, you can get some of your friends at the Cypress to help you. Well, they don't know how to do that, she said.
They do, actually. Somebody does.
Oh, yeah.
Because now if you go to a restaurant, that's the menu.
That was one of the big gifts of COVID, was so many folks in the older generations started to go online, got comfortable with it, and now they function online. They didn't have a choice, so they had to make the transition. Before that, they would, but they're there now. They are there now. So that you're ordering with a QR code in the restaurant?
Some places don't have a physical menu anymore. They just have a QR code on the table, and so that's the menu. You take your phone out, and the menu pops, and you hit the QR code with your camera, and the menu pops up on your phone.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So interesting, but the point is that we want to get you connected. Is the point?
There you go.
Because we don't have community as much as we need it, and especially within the church. Because man, it's hard to get through the day without the support, the encouragement, the help of Christian brothers and sisters, which is key.
Amen.
So pull up the QR code and take that survey and help us to get you connected. If you're already serving, thank you for being a blessing to others, because it is about serving others in the name of Jesus Christ, and that's why we do it. So, all right, well, we'll see you at services this weekend. Thank you for joining us, and go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
And drink your apple cider vinegar.
Hey, drink it. Thanks be to God.
Comes in multiple
Thanks
flavors.
Be to God.
Thanks be to God. Eat your beets. Oh, gee.